How you doing? Dan Worley, got your saw done, buddy. You know we're shipping her. Probably have it in mail by the time you watch this video. I think it'll be up for morning, one thing or the other. It was so fun building this. I'll show it to you. 365 special. Ain't that some? Yeah. We got our stickers on. Yeah, I love the saw, I really do. I'll show you. Show you how much I love it and why. That's how it should go. Special build, my friend. That was a nice saw. Boy, the inside is nice. That's got the marks, you know, from being an old saw. I want to point something out to you guys. The Stihl, or the Huskies, through these years of the earlier 372s and the 365, don't matter so much for the 365, but can you see the difference in the tank color, the handle? When they were putting the good cylinders on these, in the 372s, that tank handle was a different color. It was just a whisker darker right on the shelf, and they generally darken a little more with age. That's the ones I look for when I get saws for core builders, and I see one of them, I'll give more. I have a better chance of having a nicer cylinder to work with. Sometimes you don't have a nice cylinder, don't matter, but yeah, when you find them with a slightly darker tank, you buy that. Especially if that runs all right, you buy that. Pay $100 more. That's what you got to do. You'll thank me in the morning, I promise. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I told myself a lie. I said I'm never going to make a sharpening video. There's too many people out there that does a great job. Buckin's the one. He's the only one. The rest of you guys, if you're loggers and got a sharpening video, I'll watch it. But if you're sitting there in your freaking carport wearing your shorts and you don't get out of the backyard with your saw, you don't have my attention. And you won't anybody else's. It's a logger. You'll get people like you. That don't mean you can't learn, because you can. But you learn from us guys. That's who you learn from. We're the ones that did it. We did it long enough. We went through the heartache and pain of trying to figure out what works. Okay, that's it. Okay. I had one feller, Yank Doodle, chisel files. He noticed in the last video that I had a chisel file out. And I had a few people email me and one thing or the other, hey, you know how to do that? He's the one that said it too, because he does this. He's a logger, Yank Doodle is. I'm going to tell you. They got an edge. That's what sharpens, okay? I'm going to tell you best I can. I filed with this for 6 months. It was the only file I'd carried. And I finally, I learned it in Soren Ericsson's Game of Logging School. Yeah, I'm a master cutter, whatever if that means anything to you or not. I went through the whole crap. But I'm going to tell you what, I learned to sit down and shut up. I learned something. And Soren Ericsson himself showed me how to use these. And when I run his saw, I was absolutely dumbfounded how nice it was. And I couldn't believe it. I wanted mine to do the same thing. So here's what we got. You got 3 45-degree angles. Okay, that's what you got. Let me see, I've done a few of these teeth. You got to get one where I haven't done one. Okay, you start flat, roll it 45 degrees forward, 45 degrees back, 45 degrees down. What you'll find is that edge right there lines right up with your working corner of your tooth, right where that joint, that's where you want that. So it's 3 45-degree angles. Okay, and you just, and I picked an ugly tooth deliberately here. Okay, first thing I do is work out my point, and then I come back in. I'll flatten it up just a little bit sometimes to get my tooth shape. And I'm going to tell you, it ain't the easiest thing for people to learn how to do. Especially when you got an ugly old tooth like this. You end up bowling around one thing or another, okay? Other side, it's 3 45-degree angles. You'll get that in your mind. That adds right there. Comes right up into that point, okay? I'll show you. I'll get it close. Yeah, I got the camera pretty good. See where that edge is in that point? I think you can. That's where it is. I'm going to do this out of shape here so you see that. Okay. I'm sharpening this for summertime. I'm leading that edge. Remember the last video. Not follow my line. I don't even have to look at them and know when they're right because I'm watching that edge. See that? I'm trying to do this slow enough so that, because I generally just blister right along so you can see it. Light strokes with these files, friends. I'm going to warn you, they cut pretty good. You bear pressure on these they don't give these away. They're about 12, 14 bucks some of them. These files are. See that? See where that is in that corner? Okay, so you're getting the idea there, right? I got sweat all over my glasses and I don't care. Yeah, fix that up just a bit there. Sometimes you gotta pull your file up to get that around. You already done your point. Remember your 3 45-degree angles. Light strokes. When you get done and you're happy with where you're at, I'll tell you what you do. You just make a couple spring cuts. You're not cutting, you're just gliding. Shove it over, so your chain over so that the darn thing isn't wobbling all over, you know. And just make a couple glide cuts. That polishes that up pretty good then, okay? And I'm going to move this camera, or move this chain, so you can see right underneath that tooth right there. I hope you can see that profile because I can't. See what that looks like? See how that comes right up into that point there? That's what makes this stuff work. And work it does. You'll run into some trouble with this at first. And I'm going to tell you what happens. And then I'm going to tell you what to do about it. That's the way it's supposed to be, ain't it? You'll get a hook in one once in a while. It's because you let that working corner right there, that edge where it joins the flat part, drop too far. Okay? I'm going to deliberately do that. All right? Okay. See that little hook right there? Make sure I got the right tooth there. Right there. See the top of that? So it's got just the tiniest little hook. Well, if I'm in free cutting, like ash, real nice big ringed oak, and one thing like that, pine, hemlock, I'll deliberately make that hook, okay? Now, anything gnarly, this is jumpy then. I mean jumpy. It is aggressive. It really is. I'm gonna try to bring it around so you can see what that profile looks like. Okay. Hopefully you can see that, because I can't see a darn thing. Maybe you can't. I'll go back and look at it. If I didn't cover that good enough, we'll do it another time. Okay? Obviously, you start with this, you're going to get that hook. Okay, now that you got the hook in, I'll show you how to get the darn hook out. Flatten your file up. Take that off just a bit. Come up under and get a little, put your edge of your file right up under that corner and pull up just a couple strokes and get rid of it. Okay, see that? It's gone. See, that's gone now. Don't worry about that. If it's a little hook, if it gets to be a big hook, that's jumpy, okay? The same rule applies. Setting your raker depth, okay? You'll find out you can have your rakers just a little higher with this, all right? In this case here, I'll take about that much of a stroke. That's about it, because that's where they need to be. Each tooth is a different length. They're different from side to side. It does not matter. If you're new to round filing, or you just the guy that's got to have them kind of looking pretty even, yeah, well, do what you got to do. Whatever makes the whole thing tick, man. But that's what works for me with this chisel filing. And I hope that I've showed you good enough. If you want to know more, email me. This is the basics. This is where you start. Try to follow that little laser line that's on the back as a reference till you get where you're proficient at this, where you actually are using this a lot. You can do the same things that I showed you. You can change your angles around and one thing and another for winter and summer and the whole 9 yards. Okay, something that'll happen after you've chisel filed for a while, you'll see this little, it'll be like a shelf builds up, and you say, wow, that's right in the way of the chips. It's not. That chip passes underneath. Anything that's here in this area right here is dust. Anything right in this area here is just dust. So when you get that little post sticks up from chisel filing, it'll stick up to about the top of my file right there. Don't even think a thing about it. Your chips, when they're right, will come up, rest against this, and just keep stacking like this. And they'll be, remember, with a full skip chain, anything that'll form a chip, when you got it right, is twice as wide as a individual cutter, because it takes 2 cutters and 2 depth gauges to make one chip. And then when it's broke loose, it comes through and stacks up and gets spit out. You're not recutting your chips. It takes horsepower to do that. And you'll find out that you got more room for your bar, and instantly, even round filing, you're going to read the top of your stump and see how much sawdust you got on that, okay? If you got a whole crap load of sawdust on that, it's called spilling. It's actually recutting it, the chips, and building up around your bar, and you can't pull your bar out. I see pros all the time with that problem. You'll never see me with that problem as long as I got this chain. Full house chain, hey, you get what you get. I'm not knocking full house chain. There's certain times I'll use that. If I'm cutting smaller firewood with a 70cc saw, I'll throw an 8-tooth rim sprocket on that, and I go to town like mad with that type of chain. But like we said in the last video, you got a third less cutters. That means that you got a third less chances of screwing up. It's faster sharpening. I'm gonna warn you something. If you're in heavy bark stuff like curly maple and hard maple, and I'm sure out west some of them fir trees with heavy bark, this type of filing doesn't hold up quite as well. It just doesn't. But the end justifies the means why to do this. Now, when we buy a new chain that's already chisel ground, I don't like it. I'm going to tell you what I do. I round file it several times. You don't even have room for your file to get in behind that raker. So, and anytime you screw this up, round file. Or go get it round ground and get it straightened back up, and then go back to it again. This is how you learn this stuff. And so much for not making a sharpening video, huh? You ain't doing it, buddy. Pick this one apart. How much of this you agree with? I already know, don't I? Yeah, you got it. You know what to do. This works. This is fast. It's efficient. It takes a lesser saw and makes it more. The minute you go to chisel file. This chain was designed to be chisel filed. I'll tell you that right now. But the companies got upset that made this originally because people weren't chisel filing it. And they round filed it because it was too damn hard. Well, it's not hard. It's different. I can actually chisel file a chain faster than I can round file because these files cut like crazy fast. Light strokes. Remember that. Okay, Bucks and Stocks coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing every one of you there. I'm going to leave a comment on the comment, those of you that live close to that and you don't come, because I'm going to think you're ignoring us. No, I'm just kidding. I understand life gets in the way sometimes, don't it? Okay, I picked up a heck of a deal, and I want to show you this. And you just sit here and stare at this saw, man. I got something special I'm going to go get and show you. What do you think of that? You know what that is? Yep. This was an anniversary saw. I bought this on eBay from screen name SC Baseball. And when I seen this, I almost fainted when I opened the box. It's a 20-inch Stihl 20th anniversary bar. And that's something. Isn't that just something? I was so happy for that. There. Maybe you can read it now. Isn't that beautiful? I remember when the dealers had them. Guy I dealt with, he says, I can only get 20 of them. He said, they're a special saw. He says, they're a factory hot rod. Yeah, they kind of are. This is the saw, 46 Magnum. Flat top. Factory dual port muffler. Isn't that amazing? They juiced them up a bit. Now, I was told the other day, it was last night, by a gentleman that you can tell a Stihl that has something special about it. It's got an X ahead of the serial number. I don't know if that's true. If any of you know that for sure, you let me know. I'll tell you the one thing, if you don't pull that decompressor out, you ain't pulling that. See, I mean, that's that stiff sucker. Okay. That one's got an X. You won't see that in that video, but anyway, just trust me. It's got an X leading it. If that's true, the chain plate brake plastic was broke off, and it had a strap repair done. I happen to have a new handle, and I've got a very nice chain brake for this. And I was so happy to get that saw. If you want to know the truth, I've been looking at one to hot rod, okay? I don't think it's going to happen with this one. I know the value. Once in a while, one's good enough, leave it alone. That means I've got right now a 44 flat top, 44 Magnum flat top, 46 Magnum flat top, and a 66 Magnum flat top that's all stock. Ain't been screwed with. But we're building a 100cc saw class. I think they figure out 99cc Stihl. If I can get that done, that's going to be a bucket stock, friends. And you can see it there if you're there. I got to pound some salt to do this. I got to ship this saw of Dan Worley's out, so I got to get her cleaned up and in the box. And you make a mess of them running them. But Dan, it was fun saw to run. This one's an easy one to adjust. They ain't always. Very simple. You're going to find that the high setting's a little low. Run it that way just a bit, unless it's all screwed up. When you ship these saws, when they get from here to there, they change. Don't be afraid to set it. Watch over revving these, because they'll pull all the revs after they're ported that you could ever believe. But don't turn them too hard. Okay, it's tough on them. Don't worry about turning up where that's a nice zinger. That's just fine. Get somebody with a tack to help you. Okay, I got more work to do, so I got to quit bugging you. Later.